In this video, we're going to go over the DJI Action 3. And I'm going to bring it out and field test it snowboarding. And I'm going to see how it stacks up and works as a standalone camera using nothing but the Action 3 in this video that you're watching. So if you are on the fence about getting this camera, this video is for you. Make sure you watch all the way to the end so you can hear my findings once I've gone through all the footage and put this thing to the test. We're going to be talking about stabilization and the field of view and how this works compared to the GoPro. I'll be doing some wind cancellation tests on the slopes, as well as skimming over some of the other features like the whole magnetic system that it uses to mount to things, and how I feel that works in real world use in action sports. So for the rest of this video, until you get to the very end, everything you see will have been filmed on the DJI Action 3. So let's go ahead and get started. We're filming right now just on the new Action 3 before we go outside. I know I keep saying we're going right outside, but I'm still inside. From what I'm seeing in the Mimo app, looking at my phone right here, it looks really good in this low light environment with these blue LEDs behind me. It has horizon lock, so when I turn the camera all the way upside down, I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing because the picture isn't even moving. Like let me see. I'll move my hand with it. But my hand doesn't do it. So yeah, anyways, I'm doing a complete 360 with the camera. There is another mode where you can switch from horizon steady to horizon bouncing. And the difference is at 45 or so degrees, that happens. And now the camera's upside down. And now the camera's right side up. Not sure where you would use that because I personally won't be, but horizon steady or horizon lock, which is similar to what is in the DJI Avata, will be getting used by me quite often. And of course it has rock steady, which is just the stabilization of everything. So if I move the camera around, you're gonna see it. It's gonna make motions, but it's gonna be a smoother motion. And you can still get that side-to-side sway if you're mountain biking or doing something where you really want that motion, like snowboarding or whatever. And of course, you can turn it completely off. So now if I shake it around, it's in the super wide mode. The original's wide mode wasn't that wide. So that's gonna be one of the things we're gonna be comparing is the wide mode on this, the 3, as well as the 2. And in that GoPro versus the 3 video, obviously we'll be comparing that too. So make sure you stay tuned for that video. I think I've shown you enough in here where these lights are dark. Let's get outside where the light is bright. Get on the electric skateboard or the motorcycle or do something.
Some wind cancellation or not. And now we're about 2 feet away from the pole, 1.5. Getting a little speed. Don't know how the wind cancellation's doing, but hopefully it's doing alright. This is a little steeper run, so we're going to pick up a little more speed and see how the wind does as I talk to you on the way down. You can hear my board scraping, the winch is picking up. Still here, get going. A couple of things that I right off the bat don't like about this as an action camera is as much as I love that magnetic setup that it has to hook up to things, as you're riding and you're hitting all the bumps, you can feel it sort of jiggling around on that, and it makes my mind think, oh crap, is it gonna fall off if I hit a bump and lose the camera in the snow? And that's not a good thing to feel like as you're riding and doing things, because it takes that security away from you as you ride. Another thing I'm not digging so far, and this is something a lot of people like, is the interface system on the menu. I don't like that I just can't click a button real quickly and change field of view super easily. You have to actually go into it, choose rock steady with horizon. When you're cold and you gotta take your mittens off, you wanna just push a button, reselect it, and get out of it. Super quick, super easy. In other conditions, it's not a big deal, but as an action camera in cold conditions, it's a slight inconvenience. Now this is not a full-on comparison with the GoPro 11. That video is coming soon, so if you aren't already subscribed, I'm going to be going over both those cameras, doing some side-by-sides, and really comparing the features in action sports like snowboarding, how it does in the cold, which you can then transfer to your own use, whether that be just vlogging, going to Disneyland, water sports, or whatever. I am shooting this in 1080-60 right now with rock steady on, so if I shake the camera around like this, it should be pretty smooth, and we're gonna test that. It also should have horizon leveling, which we'll test while we're actually snowboarding as well. I'm gonna go ahead and mention two things that I do like about this camera right off the bat, not video quality wise, but build quality wise. The first one is the way that the lens cover screws on and off. I've loved that about the first Action, and I'm glad they brought it back to the Action 3. I actually like that more than the way that the GoPro lens cover works. And the second one is the magnetic base of this camera. Now I do like that for most activities. I have brought this out snowboarding before, and I'll be honest, it's a little sketchy snowboarding because it gets a tiniest little bit of movement, which the Rocksteady covers, but it makes me wonder if in a big crash, is that gonna rip out or not? One of these days I'm gonna find out. Now let's go ahead, while we're in this mode, do a couple laps, and you can watch the footage and see what you think in 1080-60 with Rocksteady on. Trying to compare this to the GoPro 11 in this particular video, but I will be making some slight comparisons here and there. The GoPro has the super wide mode, max mode. It's got all these modes in different fields of view that are real easy to switch between, and so far I am having a really hard time figuring out an easy way to do that. It seems like I can either have Rocksteady off, which gives me the widest field of view, which is what you really want when you're filming yourself with a selfie stick, doing an activity like snowboarding, wakeboarding, something that you're needing to get your feet and board in at the same time as the top of your head. As soon as you put it onto Rocksteady, it crops in a little. As soon as you put it into the next version of Rocksteady, which is leveling, crops in a little more, and then with Horizon Lock, it crops in quite a bit more. Now, there might be a spot on the camera that makes it easy to tap and go and switch modes, besides switching that way, like having Rocksteady on and still being able to switch modes, because the GoPro does have stabilization even in its completely widest field of view, and we will be turning Rocksteady off in this video shortly so you can see that difference between Rocksteady field of view on and off. So far I'm seeing the leveling is going to be so cropped in when you're doing something like this, it's probably not the best feature to use, which is a real bummer. There is a dedicated slow motion area in the menu, but you can also go ahead and do slow motion just in the regular setup when you're selecting 1080, 4K, or whatnot. You can select your frame rate there, or you can go to the dedicated slow motion area. Now, when you're in the dedicated slow motion area, it's not recording sound on that file anymore like it does when you're just changing the frame rate in the actual setup. I'm not sure the benefit of that. Maybe somebody out there does know, and you can let me know in the comments below. Let's go ahead and get some more footage filmed. We're going to do a little bit more with that Horizon Steady or Horizon Lock mode. And what that means is when you take the camera, and right now you can see I'm flipping it all the way upside down and back around in a full 360, it should have stayed locked with the Horizon. Now, if you're following somebody else with the stick, that mode could be awesome. amazing. You got to be really careful about the sides without it because, oh my God, I just hit a few rocks. Not fun. Oh my God, it's so cold. After about 3 or 4 runs in this cold, chair lifts up, the battery's at about 50%. I'm gonna go ahead and work my way back to the studio, get changed up, go through this footage, which I've already done if you're watching to this point, and let's go ahead and talk about my findings and what I feel about this camera and if it's the right one for you. Now that we've watched this entire video together, let's talk about my thoughts using it and what I saw watching the footage back. Overall, I think it did pretty good, especially at the price point that DJI is currently selling this at. The build quality on it is really well made. I do like the feel of it. I think my biggest complaint with the build quality is that the SD card is now tucked away in with the battery, where before it was in its own little slot, which made it easier to get in and out. I love the fact that it still has a screw-on lens cover instead of the weird clippy twist thing that GoPro does. It just makes it really easy to replace the lens cover or put an ND filter on if you use ND filters. It feels solid. It feels like it's built to take a good hit. But I'm still on the fence about the whole magnetic thing. As much as I love it because it's fun to use magnets, I really do feel like it gets a little bit of wobble in there. And that makes me worry if I hit hard enough while snowboarding, is it gonna fall out or break off? I guess time will tell. Now, would I recommend this camera to you if you're thinking about getting it? Yes, I would. I think it's got most of the features that many of us are gonna want. It is less expensive than a GoPro, and it's better quality than a lot of the knockoff cameras out there trying to mimic the GoPro. Now, do I think it's perfect? I wish I could tell you yes. As you've seen throughout this video, there are some things that I'm not so sure about yet, and I'm gonna have to put more time in with this camera to really come back to you and let you know how I feel a month or 3 months down the road. I will be doing some side-by-sides with it with the GoPro 11, as well as putting it up against 360 cameras like the Insta-X3. So do make sure you are subscribed if you're on the fence and choosing between those multiple cameras and money isn't the deciding factor. It's gonna be a few weeks before I can get back on the slopes to really do those tests because of the surgery I just had to remove the plate of my collarbone. I promised the doctor that I would give it ample healing time before getting back on the slopes. So in the meantime, we'll be doing a lot of drone videos and other types of videos, and I'm sure none of you are gonna complain about the drone videos. So if you haven't already clicked that bell notification, make sure you do that, and I'll see you in the next video.